Ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ bájò, ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ bájò, olúwa mi ò dìde ojú
The Ashen Forge. The Ashen Forge.
Hello and welcome to the Ashen Forge. I am Phantom X, joined as always by Diggs and the legendary Neurotoxin. How y'all doing?
Doing all right.
Great.
Another Sunday has come and gone. We had a big dump of stuff. Well, it sounded kind of weird. Big dump.
Well, I mean,
I think Euro says that's accurate.
so they
Kinda me.
did put a lot of content in, and I'm glad to see it. And I'm glad to see the potential that it offers. That being said, it's rough. I understand that a certain somebody who wears controversial shorts made a big stink, and it felt like the desert was kind of rushed into place in response to like spraying an air freshener to cover up a big stink. And so in doing so, now we're all wafting and wallowing the smell of the air freshener, and it's like, yeah, cool, it smelled nice for a moment, but now that's all I'm smelling, and it's starting to dissipate a little bit. So what I mean by that, race to the desert. They got a lot of stuff in and made a lot of things broken in the process, didn't quite implement things the way they may have wanted, did a lot of balancing changes along the way too. I'm not a bard main, but bard mains that I play with are feeling like real bad, like they wasted however many hours leveling and kitting out the character, and I've been telling them, hey, you know what? You're already there to have a geared up cleric or mage. You just got to level into it. You can alt out to a class that doesn't feel as underwhelming.
What do you mean by that?
So there have been a lot of changes to bard offense and utility.
Yeah, I'm wondering what you mean by they didn't waste those hours and they can switch over to cleric.
Oh, that if they're feeling so put out by the changes to the bard that they just don't want to play a bard anymore, and they feel like they wasted time building up a bard because it takes time and effort to get to level 25, that the good news is they can roll an alt, level it to 20, pass their gear over, and start feeling a lot better about their gameplay.
I see. Mm-hmm. They don't have to acquire gear, so they'll waste time leveling, but gear acquisition.
And then even waste time leveling. We know a lot better about places to get experience. Some of them have been changed recently. Highwayman Hills, like I think it was last week's test session, they added fire elementals to Highwayman Hills that appear to come out when you kill the fire starters. And those fire elementals, they're just like the ones you'll see everywhere else. They're 2 stars. They'll throw down fire that's easy to miss that you're stepping in and get melted. They'll do this, and especially when it's chunky in Highwayman Hills, when there's a lot of people around, it'll do this weird dash around sort of thing. But if things aren't, at a very good frame rate at the time it occurs, it's very easy to not understand what the hell is going on, and it just looks like it teleported and a bunch of people took damage. So, even despite that, there's a lot more knowledge of quests and things that can help people get experience faster. Caravans still don't give any experience, but I think since a lot of people have leveled up and there's a lot of people messing around with the desert, some of the better sort of leveling spots and gear spots are going to be more available than they used to be. So that part, that won't be so bad. But initially, some things came in broken in a bad way, and some things came broken in a very beneficial way. The Daystrider mule, first of all, not a mule. They clarified that in the live stream. They accidentally used the M word, thinking that people would maybe be able to recognize that it isn't actually a pack mule that you can stash stuff on, because it's not. It might be called a Daystrider mule. It's not a mule. It's just a regular mount that goes incredibly fast for something that until yesterday you could tame, or maybe it was even earlier today when they updated it. You'd be able to tame that thing at novice. I think you could train it with animal husbandry at novice. It'd only take 18 seconds, and suddenly you've got the fastest freaking mount in the game, short of a flying mount. You're on 170, or maybe I think it was 170, and the closest behind that is or was it 175? It's ridiculous. The Gators and the Ebon Omen, the one that you can buy for 25 or 33 gold plus tax at your local Ophelia Blackwater. There's still just one name for a lot of the NPCs. So you've got your Gerald Belfords in every town. You've got your Ophelia Blackwaters in every town. So I just refer to them as such. Oh, you need to repair your stuff? Get some low tier crafting mats. Go to your local Gerald Belford. But anyway,
So wait, I'm still
ahead.
a little bit confused. So they made the mistake of calling the skin a mule, but they don't want it to be a mule, or
it's not a mule.
Or it's eventually going to become a mule.
Someone got a variant that had saddlebags on it that very much looked like a mule.
Yeah, that's
not
the
a
skin.
mule.
I mean, right. I'm going over the skin terminology. I'm just trying to get things straight. So, they
let me clarify.
it. Yeah, but wait. They originally called it a mule, even though they were thinking of it as a mount. Or do you think it's a mule, but they haven't implemented that system yet?
So there's, I think, 3 delineations of a creature we'll expect when the full system's up and running. That is Beast of Burden, which is used for caravans, Mount, which you ride, and then Pack Animal, which might just be a Beast of Burden that you're able to deploy out in the world. Otherwise, it's going to be a third separate category that will come along later. So it is not the Beast of Burden version, because you can't ride those, but the mount version was actually called Daystrider Mule, and they said on the live stream, it's not a mule. We accidentally used the word mule. It's not a mule. It's just a Daystrider. I believe they've corrected that, but it was kind of funny that for a little bit people could just go to the desert as whatever level they can survive there, which is another issue. Find where the Daystriders are at, tame them, run them to any place with animal husbandry, and train it up. Still cost you 100 fuel or however much. That's easy to get. Just chop some trees. And I don't think the price was very high either. And 18-second process time is way shorter than it's supposed to be. I think they're supposed to be an hour a piece. So people were getting those things real quick. I don't know if they're going to nerf them, because it appears that they've changed the tier of availability to either apprentice or journeyman. So you actually need to have the proper skills now. But for a few days, it was a mad rush and people fighting over trying to get them, because those things are freaking fast, and that is a huge advantage. They also put in the road speed and highway speed buffs, where on a road you get a 7% speed increase and a 10% on highways. Unfortunately, they had some sort of issue or problem or bug, and so they've removed that functionality. I'm like, come on, it was nice, but whatever. I guess it's too powerful, and they had to pull it in for the moment. So, some more things with the desert. It took a little while for them to fix some of the terrain. There were some rocks and ledges and stuff where you could just walk through objects that you shouldn't be able to, or were being blocked by things that weren't there. The I believe both the poppies and the acacias, poppies and agaves, you have to be in close proximity. They don't have the same sort of see it far away in the field and run to it like other materials. Saguaro cacti, some of them weren't even accessible. Some of them you couldn't cut down unless they were the ones that were near other trees. The date palms, there were and maybe still are just invisible ones. You'll just be running along, you'll see an interact point in the middle of nowhere, maybe you'll even run into it, and then it's like, oh, invisible date palm, don't mind if I do. I got some rare wood off of one of those, so they might actually be the good ones that don't have a proper visual depiction in the game right now. Coal. They finally brought in coal. They didn't make it a mineable resource in that you can find resource sockets with coal. Instead, they kludged it in a little bit and they added it to the pool of things you can get when you mine stone, which you can, as of maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, you can mine stone and sometimes you'll get a little like gem as a bonus. And so that's how you got to get coal.
That's the only way you get coal?
Yeah, and it's got rarities to it. It is not base quality with no rarities. You have to hit all the rocks to get a chance to get a high any coal, and then from there even a higher chance of or lower chance rather of getting one of a higher quality. So, the
can't just burn some wood.
No, and that's clear distinction there, everybody. Coal is, if I'm not mistaken, decomposed and kind of fossilized peat, versus charcoal is what you get from burning wood. And so we've been thinking like charcoal. Can we convert it to coal magically or something? Maybe like an arcane engineer can do that. Nah, you've got to mine coal the hard way. The hardest way. And so that's why I said it was the kludge. You need it to make steel. Anything with steel.
Yeah, I remember that.
Maybe rubidium too, but definitely steel. And there's some good steel stuff. And I've been coming to realize after some play and testing over the past few weeks, until the full journeyman system is online and people are able to get the journeyman materials of good rarities, it's actually going to be a lot better for a lot of people to get higher quality level 10 items. Like if you get an item that's heroic and you throw a +5 on it, all of the additional stats it gets for being heroic is potentially going to make it better, maybe much better than a common or uncommon level 20 item that, whether you crafted it or got it as a drop, it might help, but it might not have as many of the attributes that the other items offer. Rings in particular. So it's kind of an interesting thing that like building better level 10 items and upgrading, enchanting them is actually going to be more powerful than trying to chase low tier drops from level 20s, because they might have some attributes that are better, but other ones that are so much more diminished and a lot less of them. Anyways, back to the desert. You know what? I have a whole list that I wrote up, so I'm just going to reference that a little here.
You know what I first noticed walking into that damn desert?
You got your ass kicked? Everything's brutal?
Well, there's two parts, but one was coming down through Miraleth. because we were told the lawless zones exist until they're updated.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get to that convergence of leaving Riverlands and entering the desert, and all of a sudden I'm flagged. And I guess it's just that little stretch there. And of course, who was it? Dopamine and some other people like saw me. I'm streaming, and I'm sure, I don't know if they know who I am or not, but they like stop and start trying to kill me. They didn't. I just kept running, but
That's a smart move.
That little, well, there was like 5 of them. I mean,
Yes, well, just keep running. Don't bother talking.
Well, shit, yeah. Man. Well, what's funny too is because we had just, a lot of new people coming in the stream asking about Ashes of Creation mornings, and we had just had this conversation about how PvP is not that bad. I've only been killed on stream once by a group of people, and then like not much later, here they are trying to kill me. But anyways,
didn't succeed, so you still didn't do PvP.
No, but it's just having that little stretch there is confusing to me. I don't know why it's there. Because they were supposed to take out the lawless areas once they updated, and they didn't. But there's also some bugs, I think, as well, because I went because I created a desert map. That's all we did this morning. We ground a faded map, went and made it, and then we're going to find the materials. And somehow I got flagged again out and just running through the desert, but I guess that's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to it's only this one little spot that still flagged you. But that annoys me that you have to run through a PvP area like that. Now I'm told if you come through the desert or through the beach area, if you come down the left side, like you don't flag as you come into the desert. But
okay, but there's an even better way. Just north of Sunhaven, the one that's close to the beach, there's a path that leads straight through the Safeway to Miraleth. You might not be able to caravan it. You can certainly run it. I don't even think you have to get off your mount for any climbing. I'm pretty sure it's just a straight shot. You might be able to caravan it. I find that a lot easier. If I actually have materials that I've gathered in Eithnar or Azmoran, and I want to make damn sure that I bring them back, there's that section where Miraleth and Sunhaven are connected, and that gives you a very safe way to go back through. I don't see people sitting there trying to camp it or gank. In fact, I found a whole lot of, maybe I shouldn't say, a whole lot of nice mineable resources right around there.
But not coal?
Nope. You find a lot of obsidian, sandstone, and obsidian. I don't see copper as much.
Mm-hmm. So do you just learn that stretch by experience?
Just look at the map and kind of look at the topography and put 2 and 2 together is how I did it.
I mean,
there's no road.
Saying, so you're going from one place to the other, and lo and behold, you're just randomly flagged, and then you have to remember, oh, I got flagged there. I don't want to try that anymore. What? There's no way to know beforehand that you're running into.
No. The lawless zone is very, very clear on the map. When you open it up and you look at this, this, I want to say panhandle shape, but I can't really remember the silhouette of it for the life of me. Mm-hmm. There's this chunk that is definitively not within the borders of Miraleth or any of the desert nodes. It is very clear that is the lawless zone, and you can go through it if you're trying to get to Eithnar or Azmoran more directly. If you don't have any materials on you and you're not looking to risk getting ganked and get some XP debt and all of that stuff, albeit it'll be lower because you're flagged, and that's only a 10% loss and reduction instead of 25%. Or whatever the different metric is for.
I'm gonna go find that. I'm gonna go find that YouTube video. He said, "Well, we're gonna do the lawless zones until we expand the content." We all knew they were trying to play with the idea of keeping some of that in.
It's not necessarily the worst thing. Geographically, I don't know if the connection between
the most direct route.
Well, no, what I'm going to say is from Miraleth to Esmerin, because they aren't actually connected, I'm not entirely sure if that counts as 1, 2, 3, and then Miraleth as 4 for the value you get when you run it the long and hard way or the short and hard way, versus if I just ran one from Sunhaven to Miraleth, because they actually share a border, that should only be a one node difference. So it adds some extra danger to it to go that way, but you're going to get basically
need extra danger.
3 extra nodes where, and it's not that much extra danger. They're going to be able to attack your caravan either way.
They because what I'm getting at is when they pitched all this in their roadmap, the tropics and the desert, we're going to do lawless areas because we want to simulate the open seas, and we'll fill them in. And now we have a little patch that appears to be a little bit more permanent than.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Well,
I don't care. I'm level 16, so I'm not really going down to the desert for much fun, anyways. But
it very much felt to me when they first had that zone in, like that was going to remain until the whole region to the east of the Riverlands actually started getting developed, and that would maybe start being where the new lawless zone is. But they might not be ready for that yet, which is fine. That's
the thing I said on stream this morning too, though. Like, they leave this lawless area in, and the zone is no longer just for level 25s. Like, you've got level 12, level 14 stuff running through there, and yet you have this lawless area that you expect people to run through. I don't know. It's just weird. It just feels weird.
You don't have to run through it. You can bypass it. You can just go around you can go straight from Miraleth to Sunhaven, and you can do Sunhaven stuff. It's fine.
I'm just saying it's weird. Felt weird. I don't know. If anybody knows the Ashes Codex person, they need to update their maps too, because I'm pretty sure the map actually got updated stealthily in the desert update. We noticed that today. We were trying to find this stupid damn treasure chest bullshit that we never found. and I actually did notice the map, the game map, is slightly different than what's on Ashes Codex for the desert. So they actually have changed that physically and added parts to it.
Oh, yeah.
So
go ahead.
I was hoping that from the dev live stream, I was hoping that the treasure map system was super cool and awesome, and Phantom would be spending a lot of time doing treasure stuff. And then he's like, BS. So how was your experience doing the treasure stuff?
That's all we've been streaming for the last 3-4 weeks. I mean, it's been okay.
Yeah, that's why
the Riverlands has been fine.
Okay.
The only annoying part about that is trying to get, more better maps, rare and upwards, uncommon, rare stuff, and then also having to sort of run back and forth across Riverlands.
Now, I want to give you a warning with making those maps. There's a bit of a bug right now where every time you open the interface, it might give you a different combination of Riverlands and desert from the recipe and the output.
Oh, no, it is. Yeah.
So you got to make sure when you open it and you're looking at it and you bring the thing up that it both says Riverlands map or desert map in both places. Otherwise, you might make a map that ends up being for the wrong area. Kind of funky. Had somebody do that by accident yesterday. They were telling me about it.
Where'd they craft it?
I believe they crafted it in the Riverlands.
Yeah, that's the problem. You have to craft it in desert.
They weren't trying to craft a desert map. They were trying to craft a Riverlands map.
That's not how it worked, though.
Well, it's not supposed to be how it worked, but it bugged. Yeah, and so what ended up happening is he used it. He went to chase it down. He found it, but there were a pack of level 30 3-star beetles, which even asking somebody to just run through and train them is a deadly proposition. So he's like, you know what? Screw this. I hate this map. I'm going back to doing Riverland stuff and trying to avoid this bug. You should not be able to open a heroic map with common activation tools anymore. It should require the quality of tool for the quality of map. I think you can use a better tool for the map, but not a worse one. But yeah, they definitely did correct that. It used to be that any kit would work with any map, and we were initially thinking that was intentional and trying to see if there was like any logic to, does the map quality matter? Does the kit matter? Is it averaging the two? Lo and behold, it's actually the quality of the map is going to be the quality of the reward. But then the other thing I think about with this is these are only novice maps that we're making. We aren't making the bigger and better map. By the way, if anybody's watching, this is a pre-recorded video. That's not live gameplay. I'm not. Hands are right here. Not really able to play at the same time.
So yeah.
So the treasures had some trouble.
They're gonna be fun. Don't get me wrong. I think
they are fun. I ran 3 of them just a couple days ago. I got Weeping Willows. I got.
You did get some wood. We've not found wood yet.
I got 35 common Weeping. I got I want to say some uncommon iron, like 35 or 40. I can't remember what the other one had. I think it was like.
Wait, so are you doing rare? What level are you doing?
2 of them were rare, and those gave the better materials, and then the common one gave the lower tier thing.
That's where you're getting your Weeping Willow and iron.
And then
the other I don't even know.
Well, no, I'm just mine iron. I got a shit ton of iron already.
We've done like a dozen, 20. I don't know how many maps. We've done a lot of maps. The desert, though, I don't know. There's also there's bugs with it getting stuck. I think within the rock, but it's not supposed to be in rocky terrain. But spent 45 minutes running in circles trying to find this goddamn pancake-looking thing that's supposed to be in the ground.
If you set your graphic settings to low,
no, we do that.
Makes it easy. All right.
It was not. We just gave up finally. I was like, this is irritating. So it was a wasted map. It's an uncommon map too, so it was a little bit more. But I had that bug both places. If I tried to craft a map in Riverlands or in the desert, the UI both said desert treasure map, and actually the UI both also said. So that was the name in the list of recipes, and in both places the UI also just had Riverlands. Actually, in the we put the components in. I don't know. It's weird. But I crafted
when that
it
happens, you got to close it and open it again and look at the selection again. And until all of them have the same label, it's gonna come out funky.
But that part, and I'm guessing it's an alpha, and things
It is an alpha.
You got trees that grow in rock, you got bushes that grow in rock, so you probably got treasures that are in the rock. But I hope eventually 2 things come of it. One. Steven always likes the idea of pirates and sort of these leveling systems through that sort of gameplay. I would like to see some ability to level through treasure hunting, some sort of experience process the same as everything else. That's really all we've done for 3 or 4 weeks, and it's been fun. But I've been level 16 now for a month, not gained any experience doing any of it. The other thing is just as you get more experience doing it, hopefully you can find ways to like further zone in on where it's supposed to be and not just those stupid circles that pop up. So
maybe one of these days I'll stay up till 4 a.m. or get up at 4 a.m. and we can run Cephalion or something.
Oh, I've just I've not even been putting out, hey, looking for group. We've just been doing treasure chests and solo and stuff, basically. Mainly chatting. That's all that really happens the weekends. But
the other big thing with treasures, the higher the rarity, the bigger the gold pouch. With those rare maps, I'm already getting like a gold and a half from each one. That's super easy. But you don't always get that. Sometimes I think you'll get glint, which might be worth as much or more if you're able to successfully convert on a good caravan. But it's like a speculative, maybe you can, maybe you can't, maybe you use it to pay your taxes sort of value, compared to gold is just straight cash. And that's very useful.
You can't buy them because they're super overpriced.
Well, you can
Vira
buy them.
has,
They're just super overpriced.
well, that's what I mean. The Vira has an issue, I think, with too much money in circulation through everything that's happened all along through exploit. You know, I play, you know, obviously Saturday, Sunday mornings really early. And so most of the people I'm chatting with are EU, you know, just midday.
And so they'd be on Lotharia.
Yeah. And they look at some of the prices that we have and they're like, what in the hell is wrong with your server? You know, like somebody like want, you know, 2 gold for a rare ruby or something. And they're like, we can get that for like, you know, some silver here. Like, I don't know what. So I think which then also makes me think
what's causing that?
Oh, I think the fact that, my opinion, is the fact that Vira became a cesspool of exploiters and botters and all of that was supposed to have been, you know, addressed. But there's a lot of money in the system now. I think there's a lot more money in the system than they probably intend for there to be. But I mean, it's an alpha, so it doesn't really matter. But that just ups the prices, you know. So people, but not for me, because I don't. You know, well, one, I didn't exploit and do all that shit, but I also just don't live in the game. So like it's at an extra disadvantage. So, you know, I generally have 5 gold, most 6 gold, maybe on my character at any one time. And some of these maps are like 3 gold, 4 gold, and people are probably buying them, but it's just because there's so much inflation in the server.
Even the faded maps, not even completed ones, but I think it's also partially people don't know the value of things, or people put too much speculative value into something that can still fail. Like, if I've got a rare treasure map that is selling for $1.50, that's an easy buy, because I'm probably going to get the gold pouch to pay for the cost of it right off the bat, plus whatever resources I get. Hey, you know, okay, I can see where someone's going to charge more. But like 4 gold or something like that is absolutely ridiculous. What the hell are you thinking? You're going to get that thing back in 7 days when it gets delisted from the market because nobody bought it, because it's just
sounds like
easier.
People are buying it.
I don't think so. I think it's easier for people that really want. You just go kill humanoids and they drop faded treasure maps of all rarities. Goblins in the starting zone will give you treasure maps of various qualities.
But it sounds like they have the money to do it, so they go ahead and do it. Otherwise, it would be cheaper. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, once you have a faded treasure map, it's very inexpensive to actually convert it to a map. It's just, if I wanted, I believe it's just the red ink, which is 1 ruby and a couple minutes of processing, and the map, and maybe like a crude paper or something that you just buy off the vendor. So all in all, if you've got map in hand, making it is pretty cheap. Rubies are very, very common and plentiful. It's probably easier to just run out and find one than, you know, to buy one if you're just making any quality. If I'm not mistaken, though, you can also convert the quality. If you have a low quality map but a high quality ruby ink, you can make a better map out of it.
Yeah, rare ink makes a uncommon. I think heroic makes a rare. Yeah, you can. There's level to. So I have, and I think I talked about this a little bit in the Discord. And poking around, it looks like actually if you are up to 9 levels different, I know they've said 10 levels or whatever. So if you're up to 9 levels different from the target you're fighting, there's absolutely no difference in you and I. Like if you're level 6 and I'm level 10, there's no difference between what we can get. The drops are the same. From at level 10, you don't get any. At 10 levels different, sorry, you don't get anything. And then as you go from 9 to 10, there's like a proportional change from like 100 to 0. So
yeah, and that's something I actually don't like for 2 reasons. One, enemies who are way below level need to retreat when they see you. They need to not engage. They need to work on self-preservation. I think of the way in Earthbound, when you get leveled up high enough, enemies just flee. And if you're so much more powerful than the enemy and you still manage to run into it, it just poofs, auto-resolves combat. You get your money, you get your experience. It's a trivial amount because you're much higher level. So, you know, I kind of think about that, not having combat resolve quickly, but enemies who are lower level that they try to retreat if you're not going to be able to get rewards. And likewise, just to get rid of the upper level limit. I was out on my alt doing stuff, trying to look for something. Alt's level 10. Level 20 Slate Wolf comes at me. Well, I'm not going to back down from a fight. Sure, I'll take it down. Gave me nothing. It's like, what the hell? That was a harrowing battle. I definitely gained like player experience, understanding better how to manage that fight, but character experience, nothing because it's too many levels above me. That's lame. That's ridiculous. That's like an anti gameplay mechanic. I understand you don't want somebody slowly hacking away at a level 25 3-star while their tank buddy just sits there and takes it all on the shield, and you know you get all the buffs from all the people, so you're, you know, super powerful as a low level, and to be able to, you know, farm experience that way. Okay, there can be ways to mitigate that, but if something is that much higher level and it's attacking me and it can kill me, I don't really feel good to see it not give me experience. In one of the D&D campaigns I'm playing,
one of them. How many are you playing?
just 2 right now.
Okay.
The wacky isekai one, yeah, we're pretty geared out, but a group of level 4s taking down CR8 Dullahan, that's not, you know, we punched way above our level and we got real lucky in the process. That thing, for all purposes, should have wiped the floor with us even before it engaged its, you know, special extra difficulty maneuver. So, you know, that feels good because I know we're gonna get experience because the DM's not gonna throw an enemy like that and screw us over afterwards. That's not the case here. If I'm out in the wild and something much tougher than me attacks me and I manage to kill it, I'm not happy to not see experience or glint drops. Speaking of drops, for some reason, Borks are dropping rare bear bones. I was wondering why I was seeing those on the market. Borks are the like hyena doggish sort of things that the goblins train and use. And so when I'm killing Borks and I'm getting rare bear bones, I'm just perplexed. But I think they're still working that out. They've added more drops to enemies that should drop things. Unfortunately, the otters don't seem to be dropping bones, and so you still have to rely on tanners and hunters to be able to get otter bones of any quality if you want to make bone rings or bone earrings. Bone rings being one of those level 10 items that's pretty worthwhile to make as heroic, and then, or even as a rare, and bump up until you're able to get some super badass level 20 ring that's able to be, you know, upgraded into much better shape, or that it's just journeyman enchanting is kind of up and running in a way where people can actually reliably enchant this stuff.
I'm expecting level differences to get balanced at some point. It just sounds like they aren't balanced. I mean, given because what I hear you saying is that the risk is not worth the reward, or the reward is not worth the risk, I guess is the way that goes. The reward that you get is not worth the risk.
Yeah.
And
if something,
since Steven is such a big thing about that, it seems like that's going to get tweaked at some point.
I would hope so.
It's just not a focus right now.
If something's 10 levels higher than you and all you're expected to do is run away, that's not fun. That's not a very solid gameplay loop right there. That sucks.
Well, there comes some point, right, where it is too much for you, right? Like if I'm playing World of Warcraft or even EverQuest, if I'm seeing skulled mobs, I know I'm not supposed to go there. They're probably going to one-shot me.
They might.
Jason
I don't know
says,
what the difference is.
I think a bork is a bear.
I don't think a bork is a bear. They definitely don't look like bears.
Maybe it's a bear and a pig.
Goblin
No,
dog.
it's a goblin dog. Bork is what goblins call dogs.
Okay.
It makes sense. It goes Bork. It's like, hey, oh yeah, it goes Bork. That's one of their funny things.
The other thing I did notice today, running around in the desert, there's some areas, and I guess this might even just be a balance thing that probably gets fixed over time. But there's definitely some areas in the Riverlands that sort of eastern beach area with what are they, otters or whatever's down there that's like level 21, 22. There's even some 25 stuff down there, that sort of New Ayla area that I can at level 16 I can actually kill. If you
actually a good grind spot.
Yeah, and then also even just north of Carfin, there's some things that are sort of 19 1-stars that I can kill pretty easily too. Going to the desert was a little bit different.
They've overtuned the desert mobs for sure.
That I was like, hey, this thing's level 20. I'm gonna try it. Let's just see. And it's like, oh shit! I'm like, oh, like that was a fight. I mean, it was fun, but it was like, holy hell, that was a lot more challenging. I was gonna take on. There was an event that started that had some level 25 goblins, but they despawned before I got a chance. I was looking for that stupid damn treasure map that we never whatever that was stuck in the.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's the first one I didn't find. It annoys me.
I get you. I mean, that does happen to me a lot too. It's when it's in like the rocks or someplace. Usually, though, my secret to finding them is I've looked around everywhere. I'm about to give up, but I'm not going to abandon it. And when I'm ready to leave, somehow I spot it. So I guess I've got to give up. But yeah, that happened to me like 3 times in a row. It's like, all right, well, if I'm just persistent enough. But on PTR, 2 PTRs ago, there was one over by Lake Niramita and what's his name? Grubfiddle. I could not find it. I spent over an hour looking for that damn thing. It was nowhere. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you noticed?
Did you see the skybox things? Did you see those like weird crescent shaped rips and tears in the skybox? That happened a few days ago. They fixed that.
I have really only been playing when I stream, so Saturday morning, Sunday morning, and the week in between. I don't know, really, until there's the rogue. Like I just. I'll get an urge to kind of jump into crafting a little bit, but then it just sort of dies. I mean, right now, also No Man's Sky has their. This last week, I spent a lot of time there with their new update. So.
Crap! Why did you have to say that?
Yeah, there's an expedition right now that's unfinishable. They do expeditions every few months. The phase, like the end of the 3rd phase, you have to go through this portal with a blood something or other, and. Their world's phase 2 update they just did broke it, so like I'm stuck, which means I don't have the ship at the end, and it ends tomorrow. But anyways, different game.
Speaking of different games, I got to play a little Stars Reach. I see a lot of promise in it. It was fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool systems. It's just finding the fun to it. That's the thing that. Let's see.
As you play it more, I think you'll find more of it. It's very much like there's a lot you can ask of people, but it's not going to hold your hand otherwise.
So, go ahead.
Apparently, at some point, one of the dungeons was giving item drops from the wrong place. I don't know which one it was, but they fixed it.
My favorite bug that got introduced, and I don't know who did this because I want to shake their hand, was they've done a lot of the guild stuff right now, so you can do guild levels and ranks or put points in and shit like that. And what was it? There was like a quick Discord push out, like something if you switched ranks, like anybody had the ability to disband the guild or something.
Yeah. There was an
Like,
issue
that's
where
great.
anybody could assign permissions and then disband the guild, and I
love
believe they
that.
fixed it since then. But that one was hilarious to see. I put out the message to one of the officers: "Hey, you should probably be aware of this, and let's not promote anybody."
Laugh. Like, oh, of all the things, like to be able to just disband the guild. I've noticed they also put in the last online, so you can see when the people are last on the game. Now I'm still over in Genesis Zeta. Where are you? Which branch you in?
Alpha, and we're kind of consolidating to Prime and Alpha right now.
Yeah, I noticed, Zeta, which of course is sort of new recruits and probably alts, but out of the 30 in there, or sorry, no, I counted. Anyways, like 2/3 of the people hadn't logged in. In like 8 to 30 days or something. So
Yeah. I mean, we had a lot of people race and take breaks, a lot of people that, got in for a moment but haven't really been able to come back to the game. I mean, there was a lot of people that were able to play pretty hard over the holidays, and then once the holidays were over and it became work time again, it very much makes sense to me that their ability to come in and play is too limited. So that's understandable.
yeah, I mean, there's just so much to do right now.
There's a lot to do. There's a lot to learn.
Even some of my favorite people to watch play, like Roar, they've kind of taken some breaks here and there because it's kind of the caravan running. Basically, it's kind of at the end there. Some, I guess, dungeons, but
now there was a funny, not a haha funny bug. It was an issue that was causing part or all of people's inventories to disappear. Like one person, I think I mentioned it last time, all their bags, the actual bags on their character, all of their equipment, including all of their gathering tools, just completely gone on that character. Fortunately, it was an alt, but unfortunately, it was a very productive alt. And so he's decided he doesn't want to play on the character until the restoration has happened, because he doesn't want to override the restoration by starting to get tools and things going that, then there'd be a conflict. And if a tool suddenly appeared in your inventory, it would be useless to you because you can't equip a tool. You have to craft it at a station. So, and that was actually a problem on one of the recent PTR tests too. You could get the tool, couldn't equip the tool. But no, it was being caused by a race condition, and my coder brain was completely out of my head at this point. I was just thinking as a gamer, it's like, race condition? Hey, wait, everybody who's been affected by this, are you all playing Kalar? And no, it was a race condition in the coding sense, where you basically code the cart before the horse, and a process completes before another process is supposed to complete ahead of it, causing something to not actually work right. That's what a race condition is, this thing needs to happen before this thing, but this one happened first, and then this one didn't know what the heck was going on. And so that resolved with people losing a bunch of items, and they said maybe after a day or so that there'd be the items restored, but it hasn't happened yet. So I'm wondering if that's going to be more of like a Monday sort of thing.
At this point,
we're apparently going to start doing some caravan races because caravans are getting very, very fast.
They are
Faster than a bear.
If you get a really fast beast of burden and a really fast set of wheels, that thing moves. You get some high rarity Weeping Willow wheels on that thing, it jams.
okay.
Hell, even I think like
what do you mean by that? Because caravans move super slow. So what's jam?
Yeah.
No, like if you get like Heroic Plus Weeping Willow wheels on a caravan, and you get a Heroic Plus Apprenticed quality Beast of Burden on that caravan, suddenly it doesn't feel as slow anymore. It moves fast. For a caravan, it's reinforced tin wheels. Oh, hell yes. That'll be nice to get going. When braidwood comes around, I'm sure a high quality braidwood. Yes, Bard and Ranger buff, that'll make you go even faster. So there's a lot that can be done between the parts that you put on, and then yes, the other buffs that you can put on to make them go like proper mount speed. And when you see a caravan moving that fast, it kind of seems like it's hauling ass. Because
I want to see a video of that.
Yeah.
I'll have to catch one when I see one. Yeah, just don't die. Well, the people that are running them often have guards too, because they don't want to lose their super 4x8 and its entire load of materials or whatever size that they've got. Oh yeah, and speaking of guild stuff, did you actually get a chance to see what it looks like to level your guild with the things that they offer?
Yeah, we looked through the ranks. Obviously, my guild isn't going to level anytime soon, so it's going to probably need to be disbanded. But
It's the
good starter
experience,
stuff.
though.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard that it's way too high to like get anything done right now.
It's like 5.76 million, I believe. And
what is that?
5.76 million guild XP to get your first guild rank up. Now, you can spend the equivalent of 11 silver in glint to buy a medallion that's worth 100 points. Not really worth it. There are apparently caravan parcels that you can cargo that you can purchase, and someone said that they got like 50 grand off of that. I believe it might go higher if you do a longer trek and get it further away. So if someone did like a desert to tropics run, maybe it'd be worth like 250k or something. I think we're still trying to figure out the numbers on that right now, but the feeling I got from that was less of a let's test the guild upgrade system to make sure it's working, and more of a let's see how high we can set the price and how difficult we can make it to achieve before guilds maybe will just say screw it and not even bother with it, versus how fast are the big guilds actually going to be able to crank through it and grind up their guild levels despite all of the challenge and restriction on how quick you can actually level it. So
Phantom, are you guys in the same guild actually?
Yeah.
And then how many characters are in the guild?
Oh, well, there's multiple.
I'm trying to gauge. I mean, in terms of trying to gain the experience.
You're in Genesis Alpha, which is 50. There's Genesis. What's the crafting?
Genesis Prime is 50. Magic of Gathering was disbanded. Kappa and Zeta are alts, and I guess more alts that'll probably be consolidated.
But I mean, is the cap 50?
Yeah, right now. I think leveling up gives you increased capacity and the ability to spend points. I don't think they're separate right now.
Some of those that skill tree added, the middle one was like what? If you went all the way up, like 120 extra spots or something like that.
Is that what it is? Okay.
In that skill tree, because you have crafting, you have expanding the size of your guild, and then you have like.
Yeah.
When we see that millions of experience, that's based on basically 50 at this point.
Yeah. Initially.
Okay.
And then even, I mean, it doesn't matter how many members, it's going to cost the same amount of experience to improve your guild.
Right, but I'm trying to think in terms of if all 50 people are playing and trying to build that experience. That's what I'm trying to gauge.
Yeah, if it's 50k, then doing 2 caravans a week per member would be enough to, pretty well get there. But, some people run them more, some people run them less. Sometimes it's just plain old dangerous and it's not safe to run. Other times they literally were just looking for action. So the people that were out trying to do some caravan PvP launched a 10 silver basic caravan, ran it between two cities, were basically telling everybody, hey, we've got a caravan. It's coming from, this place to that place. Nobody really seemed to mess with it, which was hilarious. Like, maybe that's the trick, is you have a few people guarding it, but you announce it very blatantly to make people think it's a decoy, and then you just have a free run. That was hilarious.
So that's because the best way to gain that experience is with caravans. Dungeons and raids don't help.
No other experience form exists. I would imagine when wars and war declarations actually give rewards again, that'll be another avenue. But those have their limits as well.
So it's somehow based on things that a guild specifically would be doing, and that's not necessarily a dungeon or a raid?
You would think so. I would have hoped that it would have been a percentage of the experience gain, like the way a node levels up from experience when you do things in the proximity. I would think that there would be some way, but right now does not seem to be the case.
And then I would imagine if that's the case and caravans are part of that, that some of that would be castle sieges would be
yeah, I would imagine
primary way, right?
I would imagine
what the intent would be.
Sanctioned combat, node sieges, castle sieges, node
guild wars, right?
Guild wars,
and then what?
Actually, you know what? Node stuff, I'm not so sure, because that's more like world versus world sort of stuff.
Yeah, not node stuff, but castle sieges should do it. That's my expectation.
I could see that.
And then,
but yeah, guild wars would definitely where you just pick a place and kill each other or chop wood or whatever.
Yeah. And then on the PTR, is it node sieges that's supposed to be in, or
that's currently being tested? They had a few tests last week, and
but that's node sieges.
Mm-hmm. And they're
castle sieges.
Nah, not castle sieges. Not like Alpha 1.
Right.
We don't have castles yet, and until we do, there's not going to be a castle siege.
I mean, I don't know what that means considering it's the PTR, but
well, there is no castle location anywhere in Vera right now that would act as the test ground for such a system.
Gotcha.
So until there is, and then castles mean vassals, and like being able to.
I thought nodes means vassals.
You're right. Nodes do mean vassals, but when you own the castle, you do have some additional influence over the area, and I believe you accumulate resources from the things within your kingdom. So until that system is really up and running, a castle would have to be just a temporary fixture, or something that you can see but not really do much with, until they're actually ready to put the system in. I think they're more focused now on just making it work with the nodes, because nodes are in. Destruction is not really in. The bombs and ladders you can craft, those aren't in. By and large, the war machines to be able to
they've got to have the same
aren't
stuff,
really in.
But they've got to have the same stuff that they had for Alpha 1 available.
No, we don't have the trebuchets yet.
They haven't been implemented.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they will have those features. They're just not around yet.
They're just not implemented in. Yeah, we don't have access to them at the moment. But okay, that's interesting. I have not thought about leveling the guild being primarily based on stuff that guilds would do, like castle sieges and all that stuff. And caravans being tied to that. Maybe it's just because right, we don't have real castle caravans. It's still node caravans that they're using for guild experience, which is a little strange. But it's alpha. They can split those if they want to, or whatever. But okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, another bug that came up. A bunch of trees, skill trees for weapons got broken, where you couldn't change them, you couldn't commit them, and a bunch of things were just not working, so it wasn't even functioning. They fixed that pretty quickly. I only observed it on wands and scepters, but I think some other weapons might have been affected as well. That's since been fixed. If you use any weapon, which everybody does, be sure your skill trees are all in check now.
The combination of you mentioning weapon, and I looked over at chat and they were mentioning lunge, and it just made me remember when someone asked during the live stream if castigation was going to come back to the cleric. And their reaction was hysterical because they were like, will it? Will it? It's like, that answer is no, because they are not thinking about that. They have not thought about castigation coming back. That's out. Their reaction was hysterical.
I actually expect it to come back as tank cleric or cleric tank, one of the secondary archetype combinations. Probably tank cleric, because it would maybe replace the chain pull or augment it into, now it's also castigation.
People seemed not to like the concept of essence weapons that did not reflect what you had equipped.
I remember that, and I think that's kind of silly, but I get where they're coming from.
Yeah, it seems like we don't see as many of those now, but
yeah, I thought they were fine. Just
I did too. But
it's not, you're not getting an exalted weapon for a moment that you are now wielding. It is simply, this is the appearance, like the giant hand spell from D&D. You might not be using your fists as weapons, but the thing that you are now controlling is effectively a giant smashy mage hand.
Yeah. I don't know how many of these people played D&D though.
I don't think I saw any freeholds in the desert still, and I'm glad to see that, because as I was saying last episode, the freeholds in the Riverlands did not feel like they were placed in a meaningful manner, in a way that reflected the original plan, where there's regions that are safe to put them down at and not be stepping on existing content. So I hope they're going to take a little bit more time and consideration with how they do the freeholds in the desert. But like I said, I don't think I've seen any now. If anybody has, please correct me. But I've gone around. I've been through the desert with an old swayback plotter with no name, and I didn't. I don't really believe I saw any inklings of them yet. Talked about the bar.
Are you drinking?
He's drinking
I don't
cola.
think I've ever seen him drink a cola on.
And I'm tired. I need caffeine.
Before.
Yeah. Usually you're drinking bourbon, so like, did you get
that would
that
put me to
earlier?
sleep right now. And I don't want coffee because that'd be too much caffeine. So
okay.
I didn't see any of those under construction signs towards the edge of the desert. I was hoping to see just, like where the Christmas tree and Lionhold was replaced with the big floating phoenix. I was hoping to just see those plastered all along the edges of the area you can't get through, as like Intrepid Studios, Ashes of Creation, you're stopping here, buddy. I do like Sand Mommy, the big desert statue that if you get it at the right angle, it looks like the stars are kind of pouring down through the hands. I thought that asset was created with a sand falling through sort of particle system, but it doesn't appear that they've implemented that yet, which is fine. You know, it's just one particle generator. They've got other things to fix. There are multiple nodes on multiple servers that have finally had their first official vote, not a snap election because the mayor got deleted for exploiting, but actual elections on a normal cycle. And more than after the 24-hour voting window, they seem like they're still going. I don't know if it's like a 48-hour window or something, but that's kind of causing some trouble because it's fine for the previous mayors to be in, but if there's going to be a change of leadership, you know, let's get on with it. That way people even know what they can, you know, expect and plan for when they come back from the next break.
What did you guys think, by the way, in the dev live stream? What did you think about the beginning when they were Monster Coin controlling the Geo thingamabobs? I mean, that's what it seemed like they were doing to me.
Where they took over the glimmering geodes and started.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I think I might have missed that part, and I need to go back and watch it. But
it was right in the beginning before, you know, pretty much the meat got started. Okay.
But they can just make any enemy that they or creature that they want to run around as. Later on, Steven tried to turn into a Bone Strider, the skeletal version of the Day Strider, and fly around, and his system seemed like it didn't like it very much. And so he had to abort, but it was a little chunky afterwards, like the error that had occurred was still hanging around. It's not like he could, you know, log out and log back in real quick. So just kind of rolled with it. But yeah, that's something that they've done in the past too.
Have they?
Yeah.
On stream? In the live stream?
I believe on stream and in...
They did it in a raid. I don't remember them just when they were showing off stuff that they did that, but they definitely did it in a raid.
I'm pretty sure Steven has come through in the form of one of the fancy steed creatures and was disappointed that some player would take it on themselves to kill it.
I mean, he has occupied a dragon, I think, back in the day too. Let's see. What about the live stream? What were your best things about the live stream? Seems like you need to do another run of it to get more details.
Yeah, it was nice to see, you know, them kind of running around in the desert, showing some of the stuff off, rewarding some of the players who are actually live in game. What was the terms? First one to die gets the snorse. Those dungeons are no joke. It doesn't help that the scorpion sandstorms that they generate on the ground are sometimes invisible because those things will just chew you up super quick. And there is a funny feature, though, about the scorpions that I think is hilarious. It makes no logical sense, but they're magical scorpions, so sure. They burrow down into the ground, and then their little stinger just is kind of up and around like a periscope. So you see just the stinger kind of going through the ground at you. When that's happening, they have super duper evasion. You're going to miss more than you're going to hit. So that's kind of a funny feature, because then when they pop up right in front of you, they do a lot of damage. They hit really, really hard. The ones that, like, even a 2-star level 20 is enough to be trouble for people that should be able to handle it with their gear and levels and everything and their numbers. So it's definitely kind of rough out there. The fact that we kind of needed 2 clerics putting the thing on that prevents the person doing the tanking from dying when their health hits 0, that's kind of needed just to be able to survive.
Yeah, so they talked about the lighting, about it being dark-ish. I think one of the big things for me would be no minimap, which is kind of okay as long as it is relatively easy to recognize landmarks. I don't know. I kind of think that, I think the challenge typically should not be navigation, but it depends. If there are recognizable landmarks, that's kind of okay. But notoriously, the problem with that kind of thing is lots of people have problem with navigation even in a 3D world, and then trying to translate that to a 2D world. People can have issues trying to figure that stuff out without a mini map. And also we have other senses that we rely on besides sight that we don't normally think about, not only sound, but smells and temperature and all that stuff. We'd be using a lot more stuff to recognize, we've been to this area, or this area doesn't feel like it's the place we want to be in or that we were before. Yes, this feels familiar or smells familiar, all this stuff. So there's a lot of information that a mini map is kind of standing in for, the fact that we don't have all of our senses to navigate. But
yeah,
it could be okay. I haven't tried it, so I don't know. But
I think the mini map also got a bigger compass recently. The compass is more apparent than it used to be, which is nice because sometimes the little mini map is a little obstructed and it's hard to tell when you're near some icons in town exactly which way you're facing. So it's nice to have that too, be able to get oriented quicker. There is an odd sort of thing that I've observed that recently I had started crashing a lot, and there was seemingly no reason. I cleaned up everything the way that I normally do to make it stop crashing, and it kept on crashing. So what I ended up doing was turning off the verbose logging and crash log stuff, and suddenly I stopped crashing. And I wonder if some of the absurd, wacky assets I'll see off on the horizon. I saw like a gigantic vase, like, relative. I don't know if you can see the screen behind me, but it, no, I won't use that as proportion. It was about 10 times bigger than the mountains, and it had the steel bloom metal texture all over it. It looked like a crashed UFO. But I was thinking maybe that's when the crash handler would have come through and smacked me and been like, hey, that's not supposed to happen like that. Everybody abort, stop the press. And so turning it off, that the crash handler doesn't try to seize up what I'm doing and register it as a crash. And now I'm not crashing anymore because I've turned them off. So it's a little funky because I want to run it and I want to be giving them valid like crash results and data, but at the same time, if the tool that does the reporting is causing the crashing, that's not going to work. And then, you know, it's well, which one are we going to work on? Are you guys going to, like, you know, a list, you know, top priority severity that somebody's having a GPU crash issue? Or is that acceptable and you'll fix it as you can, but the goal is to move forward with everything else and not drop what you're doing? Since I'm guessing it's the latter, I don't think sending them 20 crash logs in, you know, an hour is gonna really do much help. So
I did see in the forums that Nanfoodle said that they're crashing 100% of the time. They can't play after this update, and they have to always do a hard reboot. So
yeah, they might have
yeah.
a similar issue if they've got their crash logging on.
Yeah.
And I had already reported that PTR a couple of weeks ago that the crash logger wasn't working. It would try to fire off the crash handler and the Unreal crash thing twice. And it didn't appear that either one actually worked, that it wouldn't actually generate the full report and would just kind of seize up. So I'm kind of thinking that was kind of what led me to the idea that maybe the crash handler with this update is actually what's causing the trouble.
Which is a kind of fascinating dilemma to be in. You can keep it on and send the crash logs, or turn it off and play.
And actually be able to continue testing and learning about the systems. Yes. So I've kind of leaned towards the latter of those two options for now.
You can do a little bit of both.
If I feel like going in and crashing, I know how to do it.
I'm just saying that's data, but you know, you might as well turn that off after a while, give them those reports, and then go in and give them different data. Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I might think about upgrading to one of those new graphics cards if it's outperforming the last greatest and best at the lower end price point. Like that sounds like an upgrade to me. The intent would be getting more of the onboard features, as well as reducing the amount that it needs to kind of strain itself to run the game with all of its features. So that might come at some point. Gosh, that video behind me is so old. I think it still uses the old default character thing instead of your actual turnaroundable version of your character in the character sheet. So if anybody is wondering, yeah, this one's not a fresh video. Maybe I should try to record something more recent for it. But anyway.
In any case, you should do that. Yes.
So the desert. The desert's got some work still. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that is going to need a lot just to make it more functional. But in terms of being able to quickly respond to criticisms and claims that the desert, particularly the part that's cut off from player access, has nothing in it, and that they, accusing the team of lying or, something like that. It's, they definitely did a lot and put in a lot of work to get the desert up and running and have it look nicer and have it have more features, have it have more interesting things for people to be able to visit. So I'm glad to see that. And it's one of those things where even if a system comes in kind of buggy, I'm still happy to see it in, because that means they're going to be able to, start focusing on fixing it with player feedback and figuring out maybe if something didn't work right when they merged up the data from the different branches. And so that might just be something that's easy to reconcile. You just need to have hands on deck to do it. So, Monday will come around, and I would imagine there's going to be, people back at the office starting to work on the fixes. They might not get any fixes in on Monday. Maybe they're still working on fixes over the weekend. I swear, the ad break just ended. I feel like, and there's already another one. That's ridiculous. There is definitely a lot I'm excited to see with what we can do with the new materials, what the new recipes are looking like. Just as I've been saying, the enemies in the desert seem overtuned. I will also make the claim that it is perhaps possible that there's better tuning to the items and itemization of the desert and its recipes. And I'm wondering if they unintentionally made the desert a harder zone with, more powerful rewards. I haven't really seen much. I got one item that was a calcified stock from an ocular, and that was in the desert, and it's a good wand, and I'm going to use it for a bit for sure. But I really wonder what sort of stuff is actually out there. And then I guess the other one I'm wondering is what sort of questing is going to be out there and available, because I'm starting to find more and more quests in the Riverlands. I finally found one that leads to a guaranteed offering of both a rare material and the recipe to make it for a fairly nice looking one-handed sword, level 20. And so, it was something I was literally complaining about, like, have this key. I don't know what it goes to. It's not a literal key, but it has some purpose for something. Sure enough, I was able to figure out where it goes. It wasn't in a place that seemed logical to me, but I talked to someone who usually tells me to buzz off, and instead he said, "Hey, wait, that guy, he's alive? All right, well, very cool. Well, now you're working for me, and I'm going to run you to Carfin to get your ass kicked. And to find a cache there, but to get your ass kicked. So that's going to be fun for me to engage in with the people that I have been doing questing with. There's another quest that I've been working on towards the end of phase 1 that we're kind of caught up to it again, and now hopefully I can take more time to read all of the text and figure out what I'm supposed to do with the reward. And also, quizzically, there's an issue we didn't figure out last time because I was the only one that had the quest. Now we found it because everybody has the quest and we all have the same issue. It's going to need to be fixed. The enemies don't actually contribute to your quest unless you drop group and you're the one killing them, which would be fine if it was an unleveled Miraleth that might have weaker enemies, because these are weaker enemies. There's 3 entities you just walk up and kill, just swing your weapon once and they die, and that's part of it. There's one where you have to track down 2 particular enemies that are lower level. They're fairly easy. They're much weaker than the enemies in that area. And last time I was only like a meager level 17 and just barely in range for XP for the area. But these enemies, I was able to get full credit, no problem. And because I was the only one in the party who had the quest, we didn't want anybody else's levels to kind of step on the potential that it would work because it didn't work the first time. No, we finally got back to it. Everybody has to individually kill these damn enemies that are among other enemies. So it becomes this funny thing where you've got to pull the target far away from where other things will spawn, but not so far that it leashes, and then fight it there out of the party with the rest of the party handling any ads and trying to heal or, protect the person until they've got it down to about 50%, at which point the party can help burn it down because they haven't done enough to claim the kill.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, kind of funky. I'm glad to see it. The quest is still in and we can still get it up to the point where we need to. And there's I'm sure other quests in the Riverlands that I haven't found quite yet, but starting to search around, I'm starting to do that more. Some of those quests give good experience and good piles of glint, and of course, some nice lore. If you like the lore,
So
if you want to know it,
that
that's
one
how
you
do
found the workaround for. You found a workaround for that one, but Phantom, you had one that you could not find a workaround for.
Or what? Sorry.
for a quest.
You found a quest that you said isn't not able to be completed. Is that what you said earlier today?
Don't think so.
Maybe that was just a treasure map.
No, that
thing,
was
I
a
don't
treasure map. That damn thing.
know.
Yeah.
Okay. Not a quest, but a treasure map.
I mean, it's
glitch. Okay.
technically a quest. So when you,
I need to work on that too.
yeah, it is technically a quest. So when you actually activate the map, you can, number one, you can only do one at a time, which kind of sucks. I would like to be able to do more than one at a time, especially when you're running all the freaking way back and forth for the Riverlands. If I got a dozen, I'd like to just activate them all and run. But
Yeah.
but it is actually a quest technically. So you can track it in your quest logger and it'll show you on the map.
It's encouraged. That's the only way you'll find it.
Yeah, but once you dig it up, actually the quest does not close, so you have to abandon it.
Yep. Which is not new. That's how it had been the whole time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, yes, I had a quest that I did not complete. So
The difference
there's not
now,
there's not a workaround for that one.
no, that you have to just abandon the quest before you open up another map. But I think anybody who's kind of experienced with running treasure maps at this point, it's pretty automatic for me. Grab the chest, press F 3 times to get all of the materials, because sometimes the resources will kind of lag. And then once I've got everything in my bag, press J, go to a curious cache, abandon. It's like automatic for me at this point. That's you just do it once you've done it enough times. But it's still it'll still catch people. And then there's still another thing that people might be getting caught on is I believe they technically expire in like 12 or 24 hours or something like that. And so if you open a map and you're not able to get to it fairly immediately, by the time you do actually come around to it, it'll potentially be gone. You'll still have a curious cache in your quest log, but that treasure will eventually disappear, and it's not somebody else digging it up either.
Mm-hmm.
So. Well,
Yeah, before you fall asleep here.
no, it's all good.
All right.
I don't have much to say. I haven't really been in the desert outside of this morning. Continued frustration with how that went, but
You gotta get some more levels though.
I've had
16 sucks.
There's two things that I've been level 25 before, but I've noticed, and I don't know if Slurp's still on here. I saw you in chat. Twice now in the last week, I've had this issue updating where I think I might have commented on this last time we either streamed or in Discord, where I would try to update and it would freeze, and the game froze, and I couldn't close it. Like I couldn't. It would not end task.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't do the normal Control-Delete end task. It would say end task, but it wouldn't end. Like literally, the only way to get at the exe file to close was to restart the computer, and then it was fine. But that happened again this morning, And what I noticed actually this time is when I did, Control Alt Delete to look at what's going on, there was like 6 or 7 entries of this program, like something delta 3.exe or something, which if you look at the updater, you have your file download, file operations, and then like delta, like file merge or delta merge or something, like the third one.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to be something with like that, and it was spawning like a half dozen of them, and none of them would close. It was, I don't know, it was just weird. So anyways.
I have not had that one, but it might be worth just uninstalling and reinstalling the launcher. Another thing you might want to see is if you go into your Ashes launcher logs in local app data and just wipe that folder of all of its logs. That might be something you need to do if you don't do it frequently, because it might just have too many logs and it's just, chunking things to try to put more in there.
But yeah, I haven't done much in the desert, so
I hope you can get that worked out, because that definitely sounds crappy.
Well, we started the stream this morning. I actually had to restart the computer, and luckily I now have a like I said, stream PC and a game PC, so it's easier to do. But I didn't have to cancel the stream. But anyways, that was like a big pain in the ass. Other than that, that's the only like crash related issues that I've had at all. Otherwise, it runs pretty well for me. So, all right. I have to admit, at the end of this show, I did not watch the last live stream, so I also just don't have much to say about it. But I'll try to go back through. So
yeah, go get it. Not night, tomorrow, or fall asleep to it. I don't know. Maybe.
All right.
Maybe. There you go.
I don't know who else is on. We like to throw around, not throw around. We like to raid. Anybody have anybody want to? Do anybody want to raid? Let's do
raid. Raid. You're asking me to do work now. Okay. I see. Oh, Theory Forge. Those guys are great.
Who is doing Ashes of Creation related stuff? I don't know. Actually, you know what? I saw him in chat. I don't know. I've not watched, but we're gonna go to Esoteric.
Okay. Yeah, they do advertise in chat. I've seen them.
So I do not know this person. So if you don't like the stream, don't blame me. All right. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We'll be back hopefully next week. It's funny.
I hope I have a lot to say about the fixes in the desert and other systems.
Well, I was about to say, it's funny. You finally get the game, and there's not a whole lot to. I feel like there's less to talk about than when you're speculating, because it's no longer like rampant pure speculation where you can talk about just about anything, but you have like an actual product in front of you that.
Oh, I mean, if you want me to speculate, I can, keep the stream going for another hour. But I think there is, you're right, a bit of an emphasis to talk about what's more concrete now that we have access to it.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that about the forums too. They were saying the forums are dead. People said, well, people are playing, so they're playing instead of hanging out on the forums. That's part of it.
Well, that too. I think also some people are just starting to take Steven's advice and take a break. So we'll see what happens with the Rogue. I think the summer is going to be the biggest thing, though, whenever that happens. All right, y'all have a good week. And we will obviously join us in Discord if you want to chat. And in game, we're on Virus server, part of Genesis. So we will see y'all around.
Yeah. Later, everybody.